my question for you is, do you think that the U.S. government should limit restriction or like have restrictions on dual citizenship holders within
for Israel?
Employment? Oh, for sure.
Are you talking specifically in terms of like running for government?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't have a strong opinion on it. Like, I could probably be persuaded.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know where that argument ends. So, like, for instance, like in the strongest form of it, so, if we imagine the president of the United States, as of the founding of the country and everything, right? The president of the United States has to be like a natural born citizen of the United States. They have to be born with citizenship, right? They can't be naturalized or obtain citizenship after birth. They have to be born a U.S. citizen, right?
Right.
Yeah. And my understanding is the rationale behind that is you don't want to have somebody who's has to make tough decisions as commander-in-chief, as leader of the free world, as leader of the United States, doing trade agreements when he has to like negotiate against his country of origin or something, right? That might be not good.
Right.
So like, would that logic carry over into like dual citizenship? Like I could see an argument for maybe that being the case. But then my question would be, like, does that only extend to the presidency? Because I'm pretty sure, for instance, you can be a not natural born citizen, I know this, right? And be like governor of states, right? Like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? So,
right.
And I'm pretty sure you can be in Congress and you don't have to be like a born U.S. citizen. Like you can be a senator. So, yeah. So for just for president, maybe it wouldn't matter because I don't know if we would ever elect somebody that would have dual citizenship. I mean, maybe it would be something we have to explore more. But yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, what about regarding like U.S. intelligence? And let's say we have dual citizenship holders that worked in prior foreign governments coming over and obtaining government positions. Would you say that there's probably, I don't know, like kind of special interest in there, possible?
There might be, but I feel like that would have more to do with like jobs and places you're coming from, more so than like necessarily like having like dual citizenship or dual nationalities. Like if somebody worked like in the fucking Kremlin, like if they were like a government operative there, or somebody was like high up in the Mossad or something, and then they came and they were like occupying like high positions in the CIA or NSA. Like, should I say they'd be banned? Maybe not, but they would have to pass like a hell of a security screening, I think. But this is all going to be stuff that you're asked on like your SF-86 and everything anyway, because having like dual loyalty, or I shouldn't say dual loyalty, but having like connections to other countries are things that get you more scrutinized.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't think that there's going to be too much that we disagree on that one then. I'll give you one. Regarding the border, do you think that Trump's current administration has done a good job protecting our border?
Not that much, I think. I guess it depends on what we mean when we say protecting the border. I feel like when we're talking about the immigration stuff or the border, like when a Democrat is in office, I feel like we have a very broad understanding of what it means to protect the border, protect the country. One of those things being all of the illegal immigrants that are supposedly here. But I feel like when Trump came in, he did his executive order to curb illegal immigration, which is fine, but I feel like we haven't done much in terms of exporting all the illegal immigrants. And according to Trump, the number gets 5 million bigger every few months, but now we're up to 25 million people supposedly came in illegally under Biden. And if we don't have like a comprehensive way to address immigration issues, if we haven't done anything to address any of the problems, we're just kind of relying on EOs. Like if I was a conservative, I would be unsatisfied because I feel like the next Democrat president could come in and just undo his EO, and now we're back to square one.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I would definitely say that I don't think he's actually nearly reached, I would say, actual record deportations, or at least he hasn't impressed me entirely this go around. So.
Well, I mean, I think the big issue, and I feel like everyone should have this criticism of Trump, especially if you're a conservative. I think the big issue is that Trump's leadership is just very bad. So even if he wanted to get some things done, he's going about it like in the worst way possible. Like I feel like there's a world where Trump could have started deportations or approached deportations in a way rhetorically that would be really hard for even people on the left to oppose, right? And it'd be politically popular. He would get a lot of photo ops. Like imagine, the idea of like we're going to go through all of the felons and convicted people in every state, all the convicted felons in every state. We're going to look for illegals in all the roles, and then we're going to deport these people. Like we're going to explicitly and specifically do this. Like it's a high number of deportations, probably low resource cost that people are already in jail and prison or whatever else, right? And then like on the left, it's a harder thing to fight against than people going to Home Depot and doing raids, or whatever's going on here in Portland and whatever's going on around the country. Like so, I feel like the divisiveness that he creates around the topic makes it more of a lightning rod than it probably needs to be. You've got that hallway in, is it New York City, where there's like fucking ICE agents are like lining the hallway, catching people like going to court. Like these are, whatever you think about illegal immigrants, the ones that are actually showing up for their court dates are probably not the ones you want to be going after first, unless they're just like easy pickings. So yeah, I feel like if you wanted to do anything about immigration, just approaching it the most divisive manner possible makes it even harder to realistically get anything done, especially after we've seen what the ICE budget grow 10x and everything too. Like, are we even going to see results for that massive increase in spending?
No, I mean, honestly, at this point, I really don't think so. And my hope is kind of starting to dwindle, which is why I said I can't really come up here as a hardcore Trump supporter.
Hayden, may I ask, what is it you find appealing about Donald Trump at all? Or what you ever found appealing?
Well, so originally I was pretty impressed with his policies regarding school choice and trying to bring parents' attention back into schools and actually giving them a voice when it comes to their students' education. But I can very clearly see that this administration, and honestly current government system, is not running under its own power, or it's not running under...
Just a little closer to the mic.
Not running under its own influence. So at this point, it really does make it hard to be a Trump supporter in this day and age. And that's why I'm trying, or at least I'm switching perspectives and taking a more independent approach to this. I can't really say that the Democratic Party is doing anything beneficial for us at all. I would say the Republican Party, in terms of fighting for actual personal freedom, is actually up there a little bit.
Okay, wait, I gotta ask, okay?
You're good, man.
Okay.
Go for it.
If we're gonna do the Zog thing, okay?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't Trump 1 have been such an indicator that this guy was a massive Israel cuck? Like, wouldn't that have just been known always? Like, how is there a surprise there? This guy moved the embassy, he did the Abraham Accords, he bragged about getting all these other nations to like make good with Israel. Like, he's never held Netanyahu to account for anything. Like, this guy was like always the like ultra Israeli simp.
No, 100%, and it's always been something that I've personally spoke against. I'm personally anti-war, so for our country to continue to sit in the Middle East after years on years of pointless wars, that was one critical point that I had pretty much the whole time in terms of Trump's candidacy. But on like a personal note, when it came to his policies regarding schools and stuff that would actually affect me with having a child, I was all for it.
I'm kind of curious, when you talk about like school choice, like what is the thing that you like about that, I guess conceptually, or how do you feel about that? Or, like talk me through that, I guess.
I mean, personally, I think that when it comes to school curriculums, parents need to, I would say, have first say, at least in terms of viewership. It should be more of a...
I feel like, there's like your superintendent meetings, the student council meetings, like, or not student council, I'm sorry, you have like parent-teacher council where you can go and talk to your teachers about what the students learn. You've got the school district-wide like superintendent meetings where you go and you can vote and scream at them and everything there. Like, I feel like parents have decent say/insight into what goes on there if they want. Like, my understanding is there is no like federally dictated curriculum. I don't know if there are state dictated curriculum, and maybe it depends state by state, but...
No, it's definitely county dictated. But no, I've definitely sat in on a couple, and it's usually pretty silencing when it comes to the parents. If there's any form of opposition to, I would say, democratic views, or at least liberal point of views, from many parents, it's pretty much instantly shut down, especially from where I'm from, out here in Beaverton.
Sure, and not to be mean to you, but like, wouldn't you kind of expect that if parents have a big say in it? Like, I imagine there's probably like a liberal parent that lives way the fuck out in rural, Texas or whatever, and they're like, when I, suggest that we should be able to read the gay books or whatever for our middle schoolers, like all the other conservative parents shut me down. Like, I mean, you'd kind of expect that if it's a democratic choice, right? Like, Trump, we probably shouldn't want the president to change that, because if they were going to change that, it'd probably go even worse for you if you're living in Oregon, I would imagine, right?
No, I don't think that that's necessarily the case, because I don't think that it's openly displayed within the school system that the curriculums that they're teaching have a negative effect towards children. I'd say the type of material that we started to push is, I would just say pornographic at this point. So, an example. You want me to give an example of what? Like a graphic novel or a book? Well, okay, well, while this one isn't a formal debate and I don't have sources directly on me, I would be happy to look up a book for you that has been shown to display pornographic material, at least within words, You said what? How many years ago?
The audience member asked when the last time you knew somebody in public school up here.
I have 8 siblings that are currently within public school.
a
siblings.
sibling or 8?
8 siblings.
God damn. Okay.
Oh yeah, dude.
Okay, so I mean, like the go-to book was the I don't remember what it was, but it was the one. It was Tim Pool talked about this book all the time. I think it was his favorite book. I think I read this thing cover to cover like 30 times. Like this is one of those things. So this is like a really common complaint that I have with our politics today, and I would argue a lot of this is because of how the right has decided to approach everything. Is that I feel like it's like impossible to have a conversation because the starting assumption is that the other side is like literally fucking evil as fuck. So I think that. Again, going back to like how you frame things, like assuming that if I was going to some parent meeting and we were talking about like the reading literature list for next year or something, or even like books available in the library, if there is a parent and the parent brought up this concept of like, hey, this is a school that goes up to grade 6. There is material in the library that personally I think is kind of like objectionable or not okay. I would either want like like a section where in order for a child to check out a book, they need like a parent to sign off on it, or I would prefer that not to be there at all. This is my opinion, and this is what we do. I think that would be, from my perspective, I feel like it would be a really hard position to fight against without being unhinged. But when they come in and the claim is, the FBI is calling in false bomb threats on us and arresting us for no reason because the LGBTQI agenda is trying to like mutilate our children's genitals and show them like trans drag queens, like it becomes harder to talk to their side because like, well, I feel like if I'm making a concession towards that side, I'm conceding some part of their narrativizing of what's actually going on, So I feel like the obsession on the right with like the trans stuff and the obsession with them trying to like brainwash and poison kids' minds. I feel like it's just such a malicious and malevolent framing of it that there's no possible way you can make progress on the conversation there.
Well, I mean, I view it more as a gateway. Once you start letting in the small material, it leads into the bigger question of what else can we allow to come in.
I mean, even if that was the case, it wouldn't change that it could be framed like in a more, I don't want to say compassionate. I can't believe I can't say. I should say in a compassionate way towards children, right? That like a way where it's like, I think everybody probably wants what's best for their kids. If you want to read this material at home, you can do it. But I feel like that framing is better than just like I'm going to dictate all the curriculum because I think you guys are evil groomers or whatever. Especially, I don't know how old you are, I'm 36, but like I remember, a while ago, I don't know if they fight about it as much, they did for a little bit. They wanted to shove back like prayer in school and all this stuff, has to be said and everything, and we need to have places for people to pray and all this. And some people consider that like, well, hey, why are you taking time to pray out in my public school, in the morning or whatever? Like, I think that's inappropriate. So like this idea that some stuff is okay to shove down kids' throats and other stuff's not okay. The framing is so bad. It's just impossible to talk about it. I think. I think it should be deeply concerning if it's a thing you feel strongly about.
No, I mean, I still just view it as a gateway, though. Like once you do accept small things into schools, I feel like the school system just kind of moves forward with it. They see that opening. They see that they can indoctrinate a child, and they run with it.
What does I mean? Like when we say indoctrinate, what do you like? I guess on all education, like,
well,
what are we talking about exactly?
Well, I'll just be state my objective. The gay agenda, LGBTQ agendas.
Well, like, are we like, is the goal to like make them gay or?
I mean, I would definitely say demasculate for sure.
In what way do you feel like you see this? I guess like in the strongest way. Yeah.
I think it's very prevalent in Gen Z. Like we've seen a huge decline when it comes to, I mean, I would say teenage boys going into military age, and a decline within those numbers, or the honest decline within sports too.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true. Is that actually like our young boys like participating in sports less?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, okay, so maybe not on a national level, but at least around here for sure.
Do we think if that was the case, would we really attribute that to like the demasculinating? I don't know if that's a word, but like the what's the word I'm looking for? Getting rid of masculinity in school or whatever. Yeah, the emasculation, I guess, of children or whatever. Like, do we think it's that, or do we think it could have more to do with like internet devices and phones and other stuff? Like,
I think it's being pushed through the internet and the phones.
Sure. But but not necessarily like schools or teachers, right?
Well, them too. But I think that we live in like ultra technological world at this point where we are literally using technology for every aspect of our media, entertainment, education, and it's just our mainstream. Without the internet, there's really no education coming in, because I mean, I don't remember the last time I've actually seen somebody pick up a history book that wasn't a PDF, unless they were actually physically required to go pick it up from the bookstore.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that. Something I've said a lot is I think there's an interesting conversation to be had about how the internet has like fundamentally changed our life, like in a lot of ways, and nobody talks about it much because it's not as fun as narrativizing about, like evil conservatives or the gay agenda or whatever. But I feel like I guess there's a couple things. We can go on this for a while, but like I think there's an issue with people getting brain rotted today. I think that definitely happens, but I also think that we tend to like romanticize the past a lot. And I know especially younger people get mad when I say this because they think that like the boomer life was perfect. People might, how old are you? You say?
20.
Okay, you're 20. Okay, like I will say very confidently when I'm 36 that back when I was in high school, even when the internet it wasn't really that prevalent, it wasn't as much of a thing, nobody was picking up a history book and reading it. Like they were either watching TV or they were playing video games or they were smoking weed or they were, maybe they're outside playing maybe, but like the idea that we like have fallen from some ultra-educated, ultra-elite society because of the internet. And I know I'm being a little bit hyperbolic when I say that. I do think we have challenges related to like moderating how children especially engage with like social media and everything. But I don't think I see any real push from the administration on that particular topic or subject as well.
I don't think so. And I think that, I mean, it's obvious that there's things that I would change about this administration.
Yeah.
Or I would do it differently if I had to go at it. So
like, so this is like the thing that I guess I would want to see, okay? Because I think that I actually do believe that we do need two strong parties in the United States. I think that when parties are like stuck to their own, I think they get absolutely fucking insane. And I've said this a lot, but I feel like you're kind of illustrating this point that one of the worst things about all of the crazy conversations that the right wants to rip us away from and into is that we don't get to have any like actual conversations about fixing things, right? So like, if we were having a conversation, like a national level conversation, imagine if RFK, instead of being so, hyper fixated on vaccines and autism and Tylenol, whatever the fuck else he woke up and the brainworm told him to talk about that day, like imagine if he came out and his like huge initiative was, we're going to talk about how social media and cell phones and the internet like affect teens. That would be a deeply interesting topic, and I would love to see like the fights all across the country on that topic, because I think it's a topic worth fighting for. There are things that how many people in here are like under the age of like 28? Okay, a fair bit of you. Okay. So not to knock you guys, but like I hear some classrooms, first of all, even just hearing this is amazing. I hear some classrooms say that like we're going to start taking all phones at the beginning of class or whatever, and I hear Gen Z like lose their mind. And then sometimes I hear like Gen X, like their parents will say things like, you can't take the phone away from the kid, that's crazy. And in my mind I'm like, bro, if we got caught with phones, they take that shit for the week.
Yeah.
The dean would grab that shit and that would be in his fucking office, and you'd have to go and exchange like a detention to get it back or something. So the idea that that's like become an expected and normal thing. Also, I can't imagine, like I played the fucking Phoenix on a TI-83. I played video games on my calculator if I could. I couldn't imagine having a smartphone in class. That's crazy. But when everything becomes so hyper-partisan and the conversations become so horrible, like one of the things that has triggered me so hard, probably one of the most triggered I've ever been, was watching Piers Morgan on some panel show talking to a bunch of people about how ingenious RFK's diet plan for school children was, and talking about like, I bet the Democrats could never fight against this even though they're trying to, and they look crazy, and like how stupid that RFK comes out with this brilliant trap and he says the most agreeable thing ever, and all these crazy Dems are fighting against it. And like I know that you're a bit younger, but like there was a huge push in the Obama administration with Michelle Obama to do like a big revamp of school lunches and to make them healthier. And Republicans went kicking and screaming on that, and they were making fun of like vegetables, and they were talking about how eating, like green stuff was like horrible, and like how kids should be able to do whatever they want, and they're trying to like do these horrible things. And now they've like all switched their positions because now their side is saying it, and it's like, okay, well, it would have been nice to have a better conversation about this a long time ago instead of being unhinged on it. And I feel like now the conversations we're going to be having for the next 4 years are, what pill causes autism, or what dyes are we no longer allowed to eat because they're cancer causing, and like that's it. And it's like, Jesus, like that's like 4 more years of wasted conversation, I think.
Yeah. Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
You said that you think it's important for us to have two strong parties. What if those two strong parties are both influenced by an outside source? Oh, yeah.
I guess my question would be, if the two strong parties are influenced so heavily by an outside source, why did it take them like fucking 50 years to move that fucking embassy to Jerusalem?
I mean, long-term strategy, I guess.
Yeah, very long term, I guess. I mean, I think foreign influence in the country should always be declared through FAR or whatever. I know that there's a lot of disagreement on whether or not APAC is like a foreign lobbying thing because Candace owns and everybody else like jumps on it. I don't think there's ever been good proof of that shown.
You don't think that they should register?
No, because APAC is supposed to be just a domestic lobbying group that doesn't take outside influence or outside, financial contributions. Now, if it was discovered they did, that would be a FAR violation, and then, I mean, it should be showed, and they should be held criminally or civilly liable, and then they should have to register or be disbanded, I guess. But I mean, like anybody in the U.S. can lobby for or advocate for basically any cause they want, whether it's pro-Russian stuff or pro-Qatari stuff or pro-Mexican stuff. It just needs to be declared if you're taking outside money or getting direction from an outside country.
I mean, for sure. But anytime that they've been pressured, they've shown heavy resilience to do release anything.
Well, I think they probably only release what they're legally required to release. I don't think they should or would have to release anything extra than that. No.
No, but I think that the constant refusal to, I would say, abide to the standards of other countries is a little weird.
What standards? What do you mean?
Well, I would say that the same way that we receive APAC funds would be equivalent to Qatari or.
Well, I think don't they try to be? Well, I'm gonna say don't they like other countries try to be more subversive or secretive about it? But I imagine you would probably feel the same about APAC. I mean, like if APAC was doing, in a secretive way, was getting money in a way that was not okay from other countries and they weren't declaring it, like I would say that's a problem. But
until there's any evidence to show that, it's just kind of, it's not really a question for debate.
Yeah, it is what it is. But I mean, like I don't care about it much because I feel like there are a lot of like coinciding interests sometimes. There's a whole other can of worms or whatever between what Israel wants in the Middle East or what Saudi Arabia wants and what the U.S. wants. So what people, I'm sure you've done like the USS Liberty memes and the clean break memo memes and everything, and that, actually Israel controls all our foreign policy when it comes to the Middle East. I mean, like if that was the case, then I would say, well, okay, well, it seems like I don't know if we're getting enough benefit out of this relationship or not. But yeah, I mean, you've seen recently the biggest, Israeli simp in the world, Donald Trump, has kind of been blowing up Netanyahu a little bit recently because Netanyahu is going crazy with his blank check. And didn't he just like truth out or whatever, some bullshit making fun of Netanyahu for not accepting Hamas deal or something? Am I making this up? I feel like this was this morning or yesterday.
It was definitely yesterday.
Okay.
Until about I want to say 6 hours ago now, in his last recent press release where he was pretty much refuting it and going back to how much he loves Israel. So.
Sure, but I mean, like, doesn't he do the same thing with like Putin?
Interestingly, I have not heard Putin been talked about too much recently.
Well, I feel like his rhetoric against Putin has gotten quite negative after the 2 weeks after the Alaska summit thing they had.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe it'll get positive again. But they've gone like back and forth where. And even with Israel, I remember when I think it was Israel where the planes were going, and I think Trump was like truthing out, like, turn those goddamn planes around. You guys are supposed to be doing peace right now. But then it's happened with Russia too, where they supposedly make a peace deal, and then Russia starts bombing Ukraine more, and then all of a sudden, Trump's like, I can't believe Putin's doing this. Is he playing me for a fool? And it's like, well, maybe. All this to say that I guess like it's a broader conversation. Like, I don't think it's that compelling that there's like some other nation controlling U.S. interests as much as it's just like stupid leaders and stuff sometimes. Yeah, but.
I got one more question for Hayden. What would it have taken for you to vote for Kamala?
Nothing. Being that close to half of her policies were just repeats of Trump's, no, just nothing.
Which policies?
The only thing she had going for her was her laugh.
Even if it was like, what if we could have known that Kamala would have been like a huge like thorn in Netanyahu's side? That wouldn't convince you?
You said what?
What if Kamala was like, fuck Israel?
No, probably not.
Really?
No.
Wait, why what's the big push away, I guess?
I don't entirely like her criminal cases when she worked within DOJ for California.
Sure. Wait, why not? Or what about it?
I don't believe that the criminalization of
Truancy?
black men for extended periods of times for low-level marijuana crimes is something that should be, I think it should be something that's accounted for.
I understand what you're saying, but I am so curious if this applies to all of the ways that Trump enforces the law against people across the country.
Well, no, I mean, you asked me directly about Kamala Harris and.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's a comparison between the two, so I'm just curious.
Oh, I mean, for sure. I mean, there's definitely a lesser of two evils in the sense. And
but you think the
kinda why
lesser
I
is
came
Trump,
down
so I'm just curious what would move you to like Kamala being the lesser.
Originally, I thought the lesser was Trump, but now my position now is there's no good, there's no better on either side.
Okay.
So.
There's no meaningful distinction. Okay, and then I'm just curious, what are like the top 3 things I guess that you care about in terms of like U.S. policy, like that would come from federally from the presidency, that things that they could advocate for?
A complete shutdown on our border, actual mass deportation across the board. Like I'm talking 23 million in numbers in terms of deportation. And then I think our foreign policy definitely needs to be looked at.
Okay, I'm just curious because I haven't spent much time in here. Are there a lot of illegal immigrants in Oregon?
You said what?
Are there a lot of illegal immigrants in Oregon?
Illegals?
Yeah.
Yes.